Hi, welcome to Friday Night Chats with Garage Geek. I hope everybody had a great week. I have mostly books to talk with you about, to talk about with you tonight. I can see this is off to a great start. But I do have other stuff. So what I'll do is I think I'll leave the books for last. Last Saturday, I went on a field trip with my school to a farm, and in the fall, it's a pumpkin farm, and it's called Tanaka Farm, and they actually have like a fair atmosphere. You can go there when you pay a fee to get in, parking fee, a fee to get in, and you get to tour the farm, you get to pick vegetables. They have things, for the kids. They have food. The food was really, really expensive, but here is a couple of pictures. So of course for me it was free because I was going with the school, and I enjoyed it. They had a very small corn maze. That's what that was. It was very small, but the kids really enjoyed it. They have a shop there. I actually bought two of these, one for my husband and one for me. So I got him a really spicy one, and I got, I think cherry, something like that. Raspberry, I bought raspberry. His was like chili habanero mango, or I don't know, something like that. But overall it was a really nice time, and I'm really glad that I went and I experienced that. If I had gone on my own, it was, I think $27 to get in, and then $12 for parking. I mean, it was pretty expensive. We got to pick pumpkins. And as long as the pumpkin was, like, we walked around and we could pick the pumpkin. As long as the pumpkin was under $20. The funny thing is, I had two pumpkins. And so, because some of the kids didn't show up, so we were able to take their ticket. So I was carrying these two big pumpkins, and man, my arms were sore the next day. My pumpkins weighed in at 12 and 13 pounds. And a couple of the kids, they picked these huge pumpkins. One kid's was 31 pounds, and he had to pay the difference. It was only $1.39. But yeah, he was carting around this big pumpkin, and then he took that home. So it was pretty funny watching the kids. They were very excited about the pumpkins. I really enjoyed picking the vegetables. That was kind of fun. What they did was, it was like a conveyor belt. You would go to one area of the farm and they would talk to you about the onions, and then you would pick some, and they told you how many you could pick. And then they'd walk you to the next section. And I think we picked 4 different kind of vegetables. And then the next day, my husband made them into a soup, and man, that soup was delicious. But we still haven't done anything with the pumpkins yet, and I'm hoping that we do. My sister-in-law said that she might make pumpkins. It's kind of a traditional thing. It's pumpkin with milk, but that doesn't sound very good. But the way she makes it, it's very good. She puts a lot of brown sugar in it. I'm hoping that she can make me one with some soy milk, but I don't know if she will. All right, so we went to that. Tomorrow, I'm going to a concert, Perfume Genius. Now, I've seen him before, and then after the concert, I'm going to try to do a live stream with Jeff from Jeff's Cave of Cool Books. Now, this is going to be his first live stream, and the reason it's so late is because he's in Japan, and I mean, it's going to be difficult. I might be a little bit late if I'm coming home from the concert late. He understands that, but it will be on his channel, and it's starting around 11 p.m. my time, and so let's hope it works. We're going to be talking about movies and Blu-rays. Okay, and all right. I only have one movie to talk about, and that is a movie that I've been waiting to see because it's gotten such weird reviews. And so when this came on stream, I was very happy, and that's 28 years later. I understand why people are taken aback by this movie, because it's not, your traditional action zombie movie, although it does have certainly, great parts with zombies. The zombies are different. they have, in many ways, it reminded me of the Will Smith movie, I Am Legend, right? Where you have these like there are alpha zombies, and they kind of control the pack of zombies. It's very different. And then you have these sluggish zombies that live on worms, and that's how they've survived. It was really interesting, and it takes part on an island where they're separated from the mainland by a causeway, and that the water goes up, and the causeway is only open for, I don't know, a few hours each day, and that was interesting. There are some guest appearances in this movie that I didn't know about when I watched, and I'm about to spoil it because I just went in. I usually go into movies not knowing too much about it, and so I was like, oh my god, it's Ralph Fiennes, which, is a little bit of a spoiler, but I'm going to show you a poster. So here is a movie poster that I just think does not work, and it's this one. I just think this is a really bad movie poster. I much prefer this one, right? But then, I don't know, this one just seems like, okay, they're telling you everyone's in the movie. Ralph Fiennes looks silly. Like, I didn't know he was in the movie, and when he showed up, I was like, wow. But this would spoil it. Even the writing of the names, I just think this is, overall, this looks nice, but it's just, I think it's a poorly done movie poster. Whereas the other one, like I said, that one just leaves a lot to the imagination. Now, oh my gosh, I came up with a blank again. Dope. I'm really bad with names, so just trying to remember. So Dope Comics was very upset about the end of this movie. I remember when he reviewed it, he was just like really, really upset. And after watching the movie, and I actually wrote him after the movie, I'm like, hey, can you tell me now why you're really upset? I just watched the movie, and he explained it again. And I was like, you know what? I totally get it. It was a stylistic choice that the director made, and it does clash with the tone of the movie. And also, this movie kind of sets up maybe a sequel, which is I don't know if they're going to do that or not, but it was a very strange ending. But I wouldn't say that I hated the ending. I think you're just going to have to watch it for yourself. If you're a fan of like high octane action zombie movies, this one isn't for you. This one, I think, is trying to do something a little bit different. I liked the character of Ralph Fiennes because there's this mystery and there's this aura built up around him, and I don't want to spoil it, but it's interesting, the myth versus the reality, and how we see things and take things, and we blow things out of proportion. We see one thing, but the reality of it is something different. I appreciated that in the movie. Okay, so 28 years later, would I highly recommend it? No. I would say that it's overall like a 3.8 out of 5. It's not for everyone, but I think that if you're a fan of horror and the genre, you should watch it, because I think it tries to do something new or different, at least, trying to tell a different kind of story. And even if it's not 100% successful, I think it's still a really good movie. Okay, my husband and I finally finished Destination X. We had put this on hold for a while. We went ahead and finished it, and that's where these people are on a bus. It's a game show kind of thing, reality TV, and they don't know where they are. They're given clues, and then each round someone is eliminated. So they go into a room, and they, based on the clues, they put an X on a computer map, and whoever's farthest away from the actual point, they get eliminated. Near the end, it got a little bit more cutthroat than that, and as is often the case, a person won that I did not want to win, and he won because of devious means. But I think that's the way you have to win one of these shows. And I think if I were ever on one of these shows, I would probably be eliminated fast, probably because of my age. But besides that, you have to be really devious. And you have to be able to put on one face and be, basically be a liar and a backstabber in order to get as far as you can in the game. And then the people that you make alliances with, you ultimately have to turn on them. And they know that, but I don't know. I think that's why we enjoy watching these shows, because it shows human nature in such a lurid light. So did we enjoy this show? Yes, we actually really did. And there's a British version, I think, of this show. And we want to watch it until hopefully a season 2 will come out. I watched one episode of Kolchak, and unfortunately I didn't have time to watch more, and I didn't watch any Space 1999. But this one was called Bad Medicine. And again, because of the atmosphere and what was going on, I enjoyed this episode. So they're under mysterious circumstances, although we see it. We know exactly what's going on. But Lurch, I believe it's Lurch, this actor, he's going around and he can shapeshift. And what he's doing is he's trying to amass jewels. We find out why later. And he's a Native American, and he shapeshifts, and he goes and he kills women, and he steals their jewelry. And Kolchak is, look at this dog, and Kolchak is on the case. The ending was a little bit funny, like he defeats him with a mirror, but it's still a lot of fun along the way. And there were so many cameos in this one. Like everywhere you look, there was someone that you knew from TV. And like you could stop this episode, I think 4 or 5 times, and like, I know that face, and go ahead and look them up. And they're just, so many cameos in this episode. So, enjoyed that episode. Again, that was episode 8, Bad Medicine. So, I have Superior Spider-Man. So, I was trying to read both volumes of this for this episode, but I couldn't. So, I really tried. And so, as you can see, it's quite thick. I think there's like 30 some issues. And I only made it to like 28 or something, including an annual. So, I have this much more to go before I finish both volumes. So, if you don't know, Superior Spider-Man is where Dr. Octopus takes over Spider-Man's body. So Dr. Octopus becomes Peter Parker and Spider-Man. He displaces Peter Parker. Now, Peter Parker, for some weird reason, is also living in the mind. He hasn't dispelled him completely. And what's really, really interesting. So, first of all, this is a really fun group of comics. It's quick reading. It's enjoyable. Although the art isn't the same throughout, it's always interesting. It's quirky. Some of the art is better than others, but even when, like, for example, like this art, it's cool. It's quirky. You can see the different art styles. Even the cover of this, I think that's a phenomenal cover. So when Dr. Octopus dies, like you could see him here, he's on his deathbed, but that's actually Peter Parker. And Dr. Octopus as Spider-Man visits him, and in his last moments, they have kind of a sort of a mind link, and Otto experiences what it's like to be Spider-Man. And look at this cool art. And it's like an epiphany. So he decides that he needs to be Spider-Man and do good, and he's going to be the superior Spider-Man. And so basically you have a psychopath running around with the powers of Spider-Man and determined to do good, but he'll do good with any means necessary. It's like if Dexter were given superpowers. It's really fun because like Otto just does things that Spider-Man would never do. And Spider-Man has built up all these relationships with people, and Otto just comes in and he just smashes them all. So I'm going to give you an example. Black Cat is in the middle of robbing, and she comes out on the roof with her ill-gotten gains, and she's like, and Spider-Man comes up and she's like, "Hey, Spidey," and he just knocks her right in the mouth, and she goes flying down, and she's all bloody, and she's like, "My tooth!" He like knocked her tooth out, and as she's complaining, he like webs her against the wall, and she's screaming, "What are you doing? We have this dance," and he's like, "Honey, you don't know me," and he's like, "The police will be here," and she's like, "Wait," and he just swings off. And it's like he does it fast, and he just like knocks her tooth out, and she's like floored. She doesn't know what's going on. And it's moments like this that it just kind of, it really sets the tone of everything that's going on. Is it a little bit bloated? Yes, I think this could have been a much shorter series, but it's still really, really good. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how it wraps up. How are they going to cleanly get Peter Parker back into Spider-Man's brain, and then like control what's going to happen with Otto's consciousness, because I think that's a moral issue in itself. And then finally, how are they going to repair all the relationships that Otto has broken? It's really quite fun reading this, and I think you're gonna, if you do read this, you know, you're in for some fun art. Like I said, it's not always the greatest, but it's always fun and quirky, and it's never bad. And often it's really good. So I am really glad that I am reading Superior Spider-Man. And the thing is, I wonder, like, as Superior Spider-Man was going on, there must have been a regular Spider-Man series going on, and this lasted 30-some issues, so that would be like over 3 years. So what was going on in the real Spider-Man, like the Amazing Spider-Man? Like, did they just stop it? Or was there a Spider-Man series going on concurrently? But that would be impossible because there was no real Spider-Man. So if anybody knows that, would you let me know? Did they just like end Spider-Man and start Superior Spider-Man? And when this was done, they went back to Amazing? That doesn't seem like that's what they would do. All right, enough of Superior Spider-Man. I might talk a little bit about it again next week after I finish this. But there was one cover I wanted to show because, man, it was beautiful. There's a couple of them. I wish I had. I liked the art in this issue. I'm not sure who did it, but it was this vampire like dude. And, oh, here he is. And it was more cartoony, but I really enjoyed this issue. And this guy also makes a mistaken assumption about Spider-Man. And wow, is it to his regret. Because Otto goes full-on serial killer on this guy. That's another thing. Like, Otto won't hesitate to kill people, and I'm just wondering, like, how is Spidey gonna recover from all of that? I can't find the cover right now. I should have done that better. This is a pretty cool cover. It was in this one. I remember one of the covers I really liked, I think, is right in the next issue. Oh, wow. I was staring at this for a little while. How cool is this page of art? I mean, that's beautiful. So let me see. I remember it was, sorry, this is a lot of humming and hawing while I look up the art. Oh yeah, I think this isn't the one, but this is one I really, really liked. that eternal dance that he and the Green Goblin do. All right, enough of Superior Spider-Man. Let's move on. I started watching this. And after I started watching it, I was like, what is going on? Because it was so fragmented and disjointed. So then I looked it up, and it was the third or the fourth. And I was actually watching the last one. And each one of these movies is 2 or 3 movies from Japan put into one, all cut up and like just thrown together. But man, is this fun. This guy is hilarious. He comes in, he's even though this is Japanese, it like the monster felt really Chinese. He like jumps in and he's moving around and they start like doing all these karate moves, and it's like a ballet dance where they're fighting with each other, but his outfit is hilarious. And then there are these, it starts off where you got these freaky people. They're like all sitting around a table going like this up and down, and they're like, I don't know, it's like hard to describe. And the very beginning of the movie is like 10 minutes of info dump. It's like, seriously, someone is talking to you for like 10 minutes while these people are going like this around a table. It's really weird that a child would sit and watch this stuff, right? But I'm gonna finish this and probably talk more about these. It's just total bonkers. It's so bonkers that you have to see it to believe it. A lot of fun. So more on those when I actually finish it. Okay. So what am I up to? All right. The rest, I believe, are all books. So I'm going to start with one short story. I didn't have much time this week to read more short stories, and I regret that, but there's only so much time. I've been doing a puzzle, and that takes up time. Do you want to go on the floor? Me? Want to go down? My dog wants to go on the floor. Oh, hold on. There you go, honey. All right. So I read this story called Time Gypsy by Ellen Clages or Clages maybe? Clages. I loved it. So this story is right up my alley. This is about an academic who, the head of a department, she studied an academic her whole life. And this woman in the past, and the reason she studied her is because she felt such an affinity for her whole life. And this woman's death was a mystery. And the head of her department, who is a sleaze, he comes to her with a proposition that she can go, she could time travel to that area, since she is the only academic who is like really, really well versed in this woman. And she was going to publish a paper that would help time travel, but the paper was lost. And so to make time travel more efficient. And so they only have enough energy to send her there and bring her back. And her job is to get that paper, which would make time travel more efficient. So she's in 1990, and she time travels back to 1950. And that's where it gets really interesting. She travels back, and I think she's in Marin County, and she has to travel down to San Francisco. And of course, I lived there, and the way it was explained, so cool. Then there's a gay element to the story. So the woman herself is gay, and so she doesn't realize it, but the person that she's going to study was a closeted homosexual. She had a husband or a fiance, but he was gay, and they were just there for, what's called like a beard situation to cover each other up. And they actually start falling for each other, and they actually go to a bar, and it's rated, and that whole scene was so well done. This story is really, really good, and I think it just hit home for me a lot because of everything that was going on in the narrative. So I don't know if you're not gay, I don't know if you'd like it as much as I did, but I really liked this story, and so that is Time Gypsy. Of course, I'm not going to reveal the end or spoil it for you, but I highly recommend it. I enjoyed that story. It was also a really quick read. I guess maybe because I was so into it. All right, the rest are some books that I read. So the first one is going to be The Battle of Corin Now, this is the third in the Dune prequel. Now, we had a series of 3 books, but this is the second trilogy of books. But this all of these deal with the Butlerian Jihad, which was all about the machines trying to take over. And of course, in Dune history, that happened way in the past. So Frank Herbert's son and a very famous science fiction writer called Kevin J. Anderson. It's right here. If I can get this to work. Their names are down there. So they've been writing a series of books, and they're very controversial because so many Dune fans, they don't want someone of a lesser caliber of writer to write about these. So a lot of them won't read these at all. I've been really, really enjoying it. I take it with a grain of salt. I know that it's not Frank Herbert writing these. And I still really enjoyed the fleshing out of the world, even though it's maybe not canon for some. I enjoy reading about or listening to the histories of the houses and all that kind of stuff and fleshing it all out. So this is the third in that trilogy, and it does set up more lore. It's setting up the different houses. It's setting up the Space Travelers Guild. It's setting up the houses of the Mentat. It was a lot of fun, and you could quibble about details like, oh, I wish they would have done this instead of that. Well, these 2 writers made choices, and they're telling a story, and I ended up really enjoying it. Over 3 books, and these books were quite hefty. So I felt that this kept the momentum. It's the same style of writing as the other 2. It's not doing anything new or different, but it's just telling a story of a possible past for these books, and I really enjoyed it. So again, it didn't take a dip at the end of these 3 books. It was really, really interesting. Now, what comes next is going to be really controversial because these 2 tackle an actual sequel to Dune. And so I'm sure that has to be the most controversial of all of these books that they've written. And I can't wait to sink my teeth into that one. All right, after that, I listened to Audition by Katie Kitamura. Now, this one is... Oh, Sleepy Reader has a new video out. I gotta watch it after this is done. This is one of the Booker long-listed books, and it actually made it onto the short list. So before I go over this book, I'm going to pull up that list. So here is the long list and the short list. And the ones in yellow, those are the ones that I've read and reviewed. And I'm going to discuss Audition and Misinterpretation. I think that's the only one. Universality. Did I read another one? No, I didn't. Okay, so I've gone over these. Now, I really, really enjoyed Misinterpretation. I'm sad that it didn't make the short list. I'm really, really happy, excuse me, that Audition did. And I'm going to be talking about Audition now. So, Audition is a very strange book, and it's very experimental in ways. Halfway through this book, it changes, just like another book that I just read on this list did. Which one was that one where it totally changed in the middle? I can't remember, but there was another book that I read recently where it totally just shifted in the middle. But anyways, Audition did that. Now, Audition is about a woman who may or may not have mental issues. And she, at the very beginning of the book, she's sitting down in a restaurant with a much younger man when her husband walks in. And that's what sets up the entire story. I'm not going to spoil it. It's not what it seems. And the really, really interesting thing about this book is people are confused after they've read it. They don't know how to interpret it. And there's multiple interpretations for it. It's written in such a way that it lends itself to not knowing exactly what happens. And you're scratching your head like, is what's going on because there are parallel universes, different realities? Did they hire someone to do a performance? Is she mentally imbalanced? And she's telling things from two different lenses. And so the way it's written, it's just so cool because you do not know what is going on. And that sounds like, why would you want to read a book where you don't know what's going on? Because of the quality of the writing. The writing is phenomenal. It's like I'm reading a Kazuo Ishiguro novel. It's of that caliber of writing where, I mean, they write about the mundanities of, everything going on, but just in such a way that you're looking for clues, that you're trying to cue in on, like, what's going on? Is this a clue? Is this going to reveal aspects of her personality that's going to help us understand what's going on? And in the end, I didn't know. I couldn't figure out, like, which was the exact interpretation of this book. And I think that's what the author wanted. So, I mean, in that sense, I didn't come up with an exact idea. And I think that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to have all these different interpretations and not know. And like I said, that really does sound like a dissatisfying read for many people. But in this case, no. It's short enough that if you want to give really great writing a try, but where you're like, when I hit the second part of this book, I didn't know that there was like going to be a huge shift. And so I was caught off guard and I'm like, wait, what's going on? And it seems like the second part is highly contradictory to the first part. Like, things are happening right off the bat that did not happen in the first part. And so you have to like totally mind shift, like, what is going on here? Are we in a different reality? Like, and then you start to question everything as you keep going. Great writing. And again, it's getting very mixed reviews. It absolutely deserves to be on the short list. I don't know if it'll win, but it's a really good book. Now, it just so happens that I've read, I think, 2 of her other books, and I didn't even realize this. And there's another book, I think she's written at least 4. And so there was one called A Separation that I think I haven't read. So I put that in my list. I'm going to be reading it soon. Okay. The next book that I read was Doomsday Book, Connie Willis. Now, this is a honker of a book. This was like 26 hours long. It was shorter than The Battle of Corin, but I started this book and I was immediately intrigued. An academic. So let me say that I had read a short story by Connie Willis called Firewatch, and that one won the Hugo. And I think it's even in this time travel book. And so I read that story and I was floored. I loved it so much. It had so much emotional impact. I got to trim this. It's bugging me. It had so much emotional impact. And so I was looking forward to reading this because it's in that world. And in fact, I think she took Firewatch and she made it into a full novel. And that one is like 3rd or 4th in the series. There's like 4 books in this series. So I'm reading Doomsday Book. It's about an academic who wants to go to the Middle Ages. And the Middle Ages are considered a very, very dangerous place to go. So they don't normally let people go. And so the whole school, their whole job is they train and then they send people back in time so that they can record observations and see what it was like and then come back for scholarly study. So she trains for, I don't know how long, like a year or more, learning what it's like to be in this time. And they pick a time that is not too dangerous, right? But things go horribly wrong. and I'm not going to spoil it because I was on the edge of my seat. I suspected what happened, but I wasn't sure. So she goes back, and she immediately gets sick. And then everybody in the future where they all start getting sick, and they can't figure out what's going on. They lose track of her. They can't get a hold of her for different reasons. So she's stuck where she is. They're stuck. It's like this huge pandemic breaks out. And my goodness, was I emotionally invested in this book. Now, initially, I think they're at Oxford. And whenever they get to Oxford, the explanation of Oxford was too much. I was like, I wanted to be back where they were in the Middle Ages. And I just thought she was giving too much detail to it and making it seem like too, I don't know, giving it that village life. She wanted to show what it's like and like, hey, everybody, this is the way people are and blah, blah, blah. I get why she did it. It was a little too much for me. However, by the second half of this book, that got ironed out. Everybody was, rousing to the cause of trying to fight this epidemic and also find out what happened to this girl in the past. And whenever we were in the past, I was totally embroiled in her situation. This book is good. It's so good. And I would highly, highly recommend it. Even though it's long and you have to get through just a little bit of problematic, like a little bit, to me, it was just like overdrawn. But by the second half of this book, you'll be like, you can't put it down. You just like, you want to know what happens and why. And all the way up to the end, I did not know what was going to happen, if it was going to be good or bad. And I mean, I was on the edge of my seat. This is a great, great book. Absolute must if you've never read Doomsday Book, but I highly, highly recommend you read Firewatch. And if you don't, because that's a short story, and if you don't like Firewatch, you're not going to like this book. But if you like Firewatch, which I think you will, you're absolutely going to love this book. Doomsday Book by Connie Willis. Okay, I only have, I think, one more. Ian McEwan has a brand new book. Oh no, I wanna say one more thing. I'm looking at my pictures. Super Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2 are coming out on Nintendo Switch, and I can't wait to buy that. Okay, that's just on the side. Yeah, it's gonna be out soon, and I'm probably gonna pay full price for that because usually Mario games don't go down much anyway, and I don't want it to sell out. So, the new novel that just came out, it's What We Can Know by Ian McEwan. And this book is really dividing audiences. So first off, since it's brand new, it's hard to find reviews of it. I just finished it today, right after work, and I started looking up some reviews. And there was one thing that was problematic to me. I'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm moving my dog over because she's like on my lap. Okay, but my friend in Iowa, Judy, she loves Ian McEwan. And so whenever she is excited about a new book that comes out, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to read it too. I am a big fan of his, but she's like an uber fan. And there's a couple of his books that I think are masterpieces. One is On Chesil Beach. I think that book is phenomenal. I love Atonement. I just love that. But I also love his early books. His early books are dark. And there's one, I think it's called Cement Dogs. I'm not sure if it's Cement Dogs. It might be the other one, but this older couple invite a younger couple over, and then the whole book they're like torturing them, or they torture one and make the other one watch. And then you're wondering where this is going, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it's just such a weird book. And he's written so many really, really interesting novels. So anyways, What We Can Know. This book is told in parts, and it's a little bit difficult. There are academics in the future after some kind of world event, it's about 100 years in the future. Water levels have risen. And there are all these academics. And there was this one poet who wrote this series of sonnets that was for his wife. And the whole thing around the sonnets is pretty cool. And they're lost. And so it's become mythic or legendary. So it's like this grail. And it's just in the psyche, right? These sonnets represent things that were things that were lost during that cataclysmic event. And there are academics, and we learn about their lives, and we learn about all their writing. And then later in the book, we actually go back and experience what really happened. And so there's parts which seem overly academic at the beginning. They're not bad. It's just a style of writing that, you got to get used to, right? And you kind of go through it because that's a necessary setup, because it's the difference between biographers, like what we can know, like when people write letters and they leave this literary body of work behind, but does that really represent what they thought and how they lived? And biographers base everything they know about these people based on this written record left behind. And with the digital age and writing becoming what it is, how much can you really rely on these things? And there's a lot more to this book than that. But when we go back and experience what really happened with this poem, and you don't find out about that until the very, very end of the book. It's just there. It's a ride, and he's such a good writer that this book is well worth reading. This is a man who we don't know how many more books he will have in him, and he's still putting out these amazing pieces of work. Is it his best ever? No, but wow, is this a good book? And there's so much in it that you can talk about. But when I started listening to the reviews, there was a phrase that I heard repeatedly: old white man, and how relevant it is. And maybe I'm biased because I'm an old white man, but this kind of upset me. It's like we judge people based on their age and their race and their sex. I thought we weren't supposed to do that, right? Is only a young person of female color, is that the only thing that we're supposed to read? Of course we can read that. I read people from all different backgrounds, but it's coming up over and over again. Why should we read this? Is he relevant? He's an old white guy. And it was kind of upsetting me because I just really, really enjoyed his writing. I just thought it was phenomenal. And, a couple of them were younger, and they're like, why is this relevant? This is all from privilege, and, it's all about these academics. And I was just like, oh my God. So, he writes about what he knows, I guess. And if that's a position of privilege, I get it. I don't know, because I'm an old white man. I maybe I could relate. I'm not an academic though. I certainly in this list that I did way before I heard those reviews, Katie Kitamura, she's a female. Connie Willis is a female. I don't just only read old white guys. And I don't know, it kind of upset me. That's what you're basing your review on. Not the quality of the work, but that he's an old white man who wrote it. You could see I was just like, come on, this is dumb. Did he write a good book? Yes or no? And yeah. So anyways, I'm trying to put my iPad on. My dog's jumping around. I guess I'm at 44 minutes. It's time to end this. Come on, jump up. And so what did I go over today? Tomorrow I have a concert. Right after the concert, I'm going to jump on with Jeff at Jeff's Cave of Cool Books. And we're going to be talking about some movies. Then I watched the movie 28 Years Later, the show Destination X, an episode of Kolchak. I talked about the Booker Prize long and short list. Then talked about Superior Spider-Man and a time travel story that I read. and then a few novels: The Battle of Corin, Audition, Doomsday Book, and What We Can Know. And any comments that you have, if you want to call me an old white dude who's irrelevant, I guess go ahead. Maybe I am. But any comments that you have, and if you're not an old white dude and you think there's some merit, I would love to have a conversation with you, because I don't think I'm irrelevant. But anyways, I as always, I want to thank you for the support. Maybe I won't get support with this one. And your comments are always appreciated. I'll see you next week.